This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com. This show is brought to you by Slice on Broadway, supporting Pittsburgh podcasting with the perfect pepperoni pizza. Production services by Sidekick Media Services. And listeners like you, supporting us at patreon.com/awesomecast. It's time to get geeky, get awesome. It is the AwesomeCast. I'm Mike Sorg at Sorgatron on Twitter in the Sorgatron Media Studios in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, on the 600th edition of the AwesomeCast. And we got a special one with you. We got a hell of a crew with us, and we have some very special guests. First of all, let's go to the line. First of all, with us from somewhere in Potter's Unknown, Dave Potter is with us. Our friend from over at SAE in the iPhoneography podcast.
There we go. That's where I am.
And
your friend on the internet.
What's that?
Your friend on the internet in Penn Hills.
Yes, your friend on the internet and mine and Penn Hills. I can't remember who's parts unknown on this show and who's not. So I just default when I don't remember. And let me know if Chilla pops in there too, because I don't know if he's coming in later or something. He is here.
He's here.
Also with us, sneaking in the back door of the Zooms from Studio C in the Big D of Dormont, PA. He's a gadget guru of Big Bang International Esquire. He is John Chilla.
How's it going? Who's Jim Tracy?
Jim Tracy? I don't know. Did we let somebody else
over? It's weird because over top of Krause's video, it says Jim Tracy.
Well, also here,
you know what that is? That's my pastor. I guess somehow
from McKee's Rocks, Pastor Ron Krause and his alias.
That's interesting. Okay.
What are you lending your Zoom login to somebody? What's happening over there?
No, for our church, we have a shared account that we use to host all of our stuff. So I sign in as him sometimes to pull video files and stuff after services and stuff are done.
Sure. Okay. All right. Getting sketchy with those Zoom licenses. I get it.
Hey.
And
we're a church, man. We got to save money where we can.
Do what you can. Oh, believe me, I just visited our friends up at the First Zion, up there in Ambridge, helping them out with their. Actually, big thanks to Dutters and Aaron that helped me when I had COVID. Set them up because I was scheduled and then I was going to be gone for a month, and they actually went and put it together, and I was just tighten the screws on a couple of things that they had questions on that I wasn't around to answer, unfortunately. Big shout out to them up there. And our special guest for this week from Orda Interactive. I don't know. I added a twist to it, apparently. I don't know what that was. First of all, Jay Heat Show. He is the creative director. If I remember which button you are. There you are, over there at Orda. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent. Get a little closer to that mic. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of it. It's your friend today.
All right.
And also Erica Lang, writer and producer over there at Order as well. How you doing, Erica?
I'm great. How are you?
There you go. I'm glad you guys could join us on this special occasion. You have a very fun project. It involves AR and pizza. So you're made for this show already right off the bat, right? So
yeah. Don't let me go on the mic too much.
Well, we do have some pizza left in the back from our sponsor. It would not be the first time, especially when we get around to that ad halfway through the show here. So, well, if this is your first time, if your first or your 600th episode of the AwesomeCast, thank you for joining us. And you can check out everything on awesomecast.com, where you can subscribe to the show, and also you can hit us up at AwesomeCast at sorgatronmedia.com, at AwesomeCast on the Twitter, on the Facebook group, Discord, and Reddit. We share a lot of stories and have some conversations throughout the week. And like I say, you subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app or Sorgatron Media master feed that carries all the things that we're doing here. Us, Wrestling Mayhem Show, Fishing Without Bait, in one easy place for you to subscribe to. And of course, we are here live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on our Facebook, on our YouTube page. I swear it's live this time. It keeps going private for some reason. And our Twitter and on our Sorgatron Media Twitch page. However you want to consume the show. And as somebody is in the background, I thought I heard myself. And also thank a big shout out to, hey, I'm wearing the shirt today. Here it is. Our friends at postindustrial.com that are also sharing the show. And thank you, of course, to our Patreon supporters that are helping support the show at patreon.com/awesomecast. We have, first of all, our executive producer, Brian Crawford. Thank you to him, as well as our friends at the Coffee Club level, Matt Weller, John Carmen, Cynthia Kloski's I can't talk today. Mike McTaggart and Mike Pound. And I'm sorry, Scott McTaggart and Mike Pound. Jeez. Fan of the show, love our friends Michael Fedor, Professor Buzzkill, and Dave Potter. Thank you to everybody. Hey, Dave's here too. That guy is over there. You guys support the show too. We do appreciate it. Patreon.com/awesomecast. Also, like, I was looking, like, I think everybody, Brian's dropped off and got in a new thing because I know he was under a different entity before. But like, most of our people have been Patreon supporters for years at this point, which is really impressive. And thank you, everybody. And I'm sure it is in no small part that probably about 80% of this are people I've had a beer with in the last decade. So I don't know what that says for podcast growth, but it says something there, and you can defer how you would like. Anyways, let's get into our awesome things of the week. We got a lot of stuff in here. Kraus has the fun one to begin with. I don't know. You just have a phrase in here, and I want to know what the heck this is about.
Well, that's from the old Fortnite days, winner, chicken dinner, and I actually got my first Fortnite win with Chilla and his son.
Whoa.
So it was awesome. Yeah.
I love the winner, chicken dinner with Chilla Jr. in Fortnite.
Yeah, in Fortnite, yeah. So I just figured I didn't really have anything cool to talk about tonight, so I figured out why not. I'll give John and his son some credit. They helped drag me along, get me with my first Fortnite win.
Finally, I think I lucked out one time and got a win early on, but I'm also it was on the iPhone where I'm unsure if they weren't bots or not. So remember those days where like, are we fighting real people? I'm not sure right now. I'm not dying instantly.
A win is a win.
The win is a win, absolutely. Fantastic.
It's like when they had the Thanos version, and you could actually like get the Infinity Gauntlet and beam all around the map.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's so many things from way back in the day. But I will say, Kraus, after you left, he pulled this crazy maneuver where he actually went to revive me, but he had to come into the storm to do it.
Ooh.
Oh, neat.
And then he was so low on health that he threw a grenade, a shockwave grenade, which doesn't do damage but pushes everyone. He threw it behind him to push himself and propel himself outside of the storm, which was pretty impressive.
Wait, your son did this?
Yes.
How old is he? And for the audience, how old is he again?
He's 8.
That is fantastic.
Oh, and here he hears me talking about him.
Oh, we got
it. There he is.
Aw.
Oh,
he's
He
in
just
the
take
other
a
room
little
playing
bow?
now,
Looks like he
sharpening
took a
and
bow.
honing his skill.
if you don't enroll that kid into some esports, I don't know what's going on over there. I mean, you're just pruning that kid right at this point, right?
Yep.
Just getting him going.
Planning my retirement.
Yes, that's your retirement. More options these days for professional sports. Well, okay. What else we got here? Chilla, let's go to you, since you were the subject of that one.
So mine is totally non-tech, but it is something that I hemmed and hawed with purchasing for 2 years now, and we are approaching beach weather. So it is a product from Cool Cabanas. It is like a portable cabana. Now, most people, take an umbrella to the beach. We lug the umbrella quite frequently. But we saw these at the beach last year, or 2 years ago, I'm sorry. And what it is, you set it up like an umbrella at first, but then it actually like opens up into this huge cabana area. And then the sides actually fold down. You throw sand in there, life is good. And it's actually, they're 8 feet by 8 feet. They do run, they're a little pricey. They run $200. But you think to yourself, right, what else can I do with this thing if I'm not going to the beach all the time? And this is what sealed the deal for me. This year they came out with grass kits for the Cool Cabana. So
Okay.
it's a grass spike that screws into the center that you would normally put into the sand,
Mhm.
and then 4 metal stakes, and it makes it completely usable in your backyard too.
I just feel like you just got a tent set. I don't know if this is revolutionary.
But there's no walls.
Yes.
Like, right, it's just meant for shade. You're not gonna, like, I wouldn't sleep in that like I would a tent. But they're super cool product. I think they were on Shark Tank. That's maybe where they got one of their starts. And then I also think some of their, I was surprised they're from somewhere near here. At least the shipping is from somewhere near here, because I ordered it and I had it a day later. So super fun product if you're going to the beach, if you want shade in your backyard. For this size, it's not much more than an equivalent like backyard tent that you would normally have. You can't go, like, you can't put it outside your truck or anything at a tailgate, but super good quality product. So far pretty happy with it.
How difficult is it to get the sand out of it once you put the sand in?
Super easy. It's like a pocket, right? You just fold it. You fold it inside out.
Okay, because I was looking at that going, oh, I wonder how you get that sand out of there once you get it in.
And those sleeves, there's actually like pockets in the sides too, like if you want to throw your phone in there or throw whatever in there while you're going around. So I don't know, super cool product.
That's awesome. The answer part of your question, I'm looking under the shipping and returns. They said they ship from Atlanta, Philadelphia, and Los Angeles, and they just ship from the closest warehouse. So that's
so I must have got it from
it.
the Philadelphia warehouse.
Yeah. So there you go. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, geez, that's how many cities around there. So awesome. That's coolcabanas.com. I was just at Kennywood, so I could think about like the other Cabana Lagoon over there. So I wondered if you had a Kennywood's trip as well. So
one thing real quick before you move on, Sorg, is we got a tent for Ruth for her jewelry selling thing, so we could have over it when we go to places. And this is so much now, admittedly, that wouldn't work as good because of the pole in the middle versus the outside. But putting this up looks so much easier because that is a 2-person job. Yeah, what we have.
Yeah,
and this you can do by yourself.
Yeah, that you have to get 2 people. You have to stretch it out, put the top on, clip it on. It's not hard, but this is so much easier.
So there's a pole in the middle. So you wouldn't recommend this because I need something for. I have a couple of video productions that we're going to be doing in the middle of a football field in the next few weeks. Like that's this probably wouldn't fit for that.
Unless you have I would say if you have a table with a hole in the middle that you could put the pole through the hole there and you could work in the middle. You're not taking up a lot of space.
I mean, we can get a Dremel. I mean, solve this problem right away, right?
Yeah.
You could do that. You could do it depending on if you had 2 smaller tables. Because think about it, if you had a 4-foot-long table, right? Yeah. It's 8 by 8. So you could actually put 2 4-foot. You could put 2 4-foot tables in there.
Yeah.
And you're just going to have a little, and you may be able to run your wiring up and around.
Oh, there you go. That'd be fun.
In the middle, yeah.
Erica, what were you saying?
Oh, you could get like 2 card tables, or you could just use like the kind of thing you put out on your porch, and it's got an umbrella hole.
Ooh, I'm thinking for like production table because I need like a long space for that setup, So I don't know. What do you think of these cool cabanas, J.E. Erica?
Seem pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like the sun though, so I'm always out there.
Yes. Potter, what's your awesome thing here?
My awesome thing that is scheduled to happen next Tuesday. So we talked a while back about the James Webb Telescope, and everything's finally in place, and they're going to release the images next Tuesday morning.
Ooh.
So this is going to be so 15 of the 17, there was a problem a couple weeks ago where there were some micrometeors that hit the mirror and actually dinged it, one of the mirrors, and dinged it. A little bit larger than they were expecting. So they had to do some maneuvering of the mirror to kind of minimize the issue there. But this is going to be the first image, real images, because all the only thing they've done so far were the kind of, let's see how it works out and make sure everything's aligned right. So they were just alignment test images. These is going to be the first real images that they're going to release publicly. Now, it does say in the article on CNET that a couple people have actually seen these images. Now, admittedly, I know you got to take into account people and being overly excited, but some of these first images I think they're going to be mind blowing, because I mean, generally you don't want to over push and under deliver.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to, because this is so above and beyond the quality of what's currently out there. These are going to be, I think, especially being infrared. Remember, so you're not going. This is not going to be 100%. In the wavelength. Any kind of dust or anything, because it's infrared, won't affect it where Hubble was. So this is going to. Assuming nothing else major bad happens. It is 2022, unfortunately. I think this is going to be kind of a big deal when it comes out next week. Hopefully. Excellent. So yeah, something. NASA's really good with releasing this stuff and posting it in multiple places, including their website, all the social things. So definitely, check it out. This is a once every few decades you get a brand new instrument like this, first time being turned on.
Yeah, I mean, listen to the excitement, because I heard Twit saying they were going to do a live broadcast around it too. So I mean, between this and what SpaceX is doing, I'm glad to see. And for those who don't know, like, NASA generally has a pretty regular live stream that happens around almost every launch and around like events like this.
Oh yeah.
So like, if you're into space, like, you can just dip into that for a while and get a lot. So, and cool real stuff that's happening there. So go check that out. So that is going to be, what is that time again? That's going to be Tuesday. Wait, is this Tuesday?
Tuesday. It's going to be Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
And next Tuesday. Yep, it'll be before AwesomeCast is on again. And it is, let me get here, 10:30 in the morning.
Wow. 10:30 a.m.
10:30 Eastern.
Okay, so we will. Yep. So we'll talk about the aliens that we find last week on the show, on episode 601.
We'll see who we're waving at.
So, yeah, we'll see who we're waving at, right? So, oh boy, I got excited because there was a reference to SETI and mathematical equations. I just finished Star Trek Discovery a couple nights ago. I'm catching up on my Star Trek. I'm catching up on everything. I missed like a month and a half of good television. So, and getting into that Picard. So I just love those references like that. Okay, my awesome thing of the week. Getting back into the gaming now that things have slowed down a little bit, and I was shown this one over on our Apple Arcade. It's called Air Twister. It's very fanciful. You ride a swan or something on the stage, and I'm a few levels into it, but it's a very. Do you remember the game Space Harrier? For the Sega Genesis or the arcade or Sega platforms and stuff like that, it feels a lot like that. You're kind of floating through space, and you have a bow and arrow, and you slide your finger across and try to shoot things. And they have some pretty cool big bosses. It feels very large and fantasy driven, right? And the music is pretty incredible in this thing. So if you're wearing headphones, I definitely recommend that. But that was one of them that dropped recently on Arcade. Also, Arcade has been dropping a lot of interesting stuff lately. Unfortunately, stuff that I've already purchased. We know Alto's Adventures on there and stuff too, right? But they also dropped Sonic Dash Plus, which is of course the non-freemium version of the Endless Runner Sonic. Both Monument Valleys are on there now. Goat Simulator is on there. If you've never played that, highly recommended just for randomness. So that's been really cool. Also, Netflix has been getting really good. There's an Exploding Kittens game over there, guys. If you've never played this card game, I highly recommend it. So go check that out if you don't have friends to play with. Like Netflix is starting to pick up a little bit on their gaming situation. I don't know if you guys have dived into that recently.
I tried out a couple when it first came out, but I haven't checked out any of the latest titles. I'll have to give it a try.
Erica?
I just wasn't aware that they had a gaming section.
Yes, if you have the app on your phone, there will be a there'll be a little bit of a gaming section in there, and you can kind of select through there. They got a good 10 or 15 games, I think. Like at first it was like the simplest little games, but of course then there's the Stranger Things games are in there now. So they got a pretty good. I mean, they seem kind of random. Some of them are kind of like, I know they have at least one game with that Arcane League of Legends show that they put on. And amazingly, not a lot of them are connected. Into the Dead 2, I don't even know what that's from. Exploding Kittens, I don't know if they might be doing the series there. I think we might have talked about. But yeah, it's really kind of random. Asphalt Extreme, Bowling Ballers, random. I think there's a random golf game in here. But also remember when they started streaming, they had a lot of random stuff and a lot of really bad straight-to-video movies, and that was all they had, remember? And now, I mean, I think it'll become kind of its own Apple Arcade, or they'll spin it off on its own thing or something like that. But, I mean, it's coming along. For being, relatively a year into this, the games don't look half bad. I mean, Apple Arcade wasn't entirely deep when it first started, was it, guys? And now they have a little bit of everything going on. So
yeah, it's an interesting move. I like the idea that they connected to the shows to add content to drive people to watch.
Yeah, right. And isn't that the idea? Where maybe we'll have an Umbrella Academy game or a Squid game.
Yeah.
Squid game. Oh no.
Which I think is really. I was playing Fall Guys last week, and I think that is Squid Game's the game in the long run. So if you never played that one. But also, it reminds me of the old Takeshi's MXC, Takeshi's Castle kind of stuff. I'm sure that's where they got the idea from. The old Japanese wild game shows like that. So, well, we'll get into your guys' awesome thing here in just a moment. But first, I want to give a shout out to our friends who are also awesome at Slice on Broadway, New York City style Yinzer made, supporting Pittsburgh podcasting with the perfect pepperoni pizza for well over a decade. 5 locations now: Beachview, Carnegie, East End, North Hills, and I believe they still have their pop-up down at Southside Works. So good to see them expanding, and good to see that they also got a random bike rack in front of their venue too. Because where did this thing come from? Sorry, we had surprise bike racks show up in front of a lot of our businesses in Beachview. We're like, what happened? Who ordered these? I didn't order this. Nobody agreed to it. So, but anyways. Bike on over to Slice on Broadway. They got you taken care of now, I guess. Bonner, you're a biker. You could, not that you're biking all the way from Penn Hills. So
where are the bike racks? Are they on the street or on the sidewalk?
It's right there, Chilla. It's right.
But on the sidewalk or on the...
Yeah, it's on the sidewalk. It's on the sidewalk. Okay. It's on.
At least they're not chewing through parking. Not to be rude.
It's about. No, you're allowed to be. It's about 6 feet from where I'm sitting right now. So if that gives you context, because you know the studio. But so I guess he went outside while they were in Rico down Slice. It went out, from what I've told, and asked, why are you putting this here? I did not approve this. And they said the business owner approved it, and he's like, I am the business owner. So whatever. City's gonna city. All right, so let's go. Let's go from talking about pizza to talking about pizza, shall we? So Jehi and Erica, you got a pretty cool thing going on over there. First, tell us what are you guys doing generally over there at Orta Interactive?
Well, so this is Jehi's brainchild, this company, and it's a creative studio. You want to talk about it, Jehi?
Yeah. It's Orta Interactive is more like an immersive studio that we focus on creating VR and AR, but more like educational VR and AR storytelling experience that we create.
Yeah, sometimes with a social justice element, but sometimes just sort of educational or fun, but always it has some sort of point to make a little bit on the underneath of it. Yeah, so the pizza pizza game is an exploration in using augmented reality to make a game for kids to teach them where food comes from.
Mm-hmm.
But we, you kind of have to sneak that kind of education in. So we made it about pizza because kids love pizza.
It caught my attention, that's for sure.
Not just kids.
Not just kids.
Not just kids. Everybody loves pizza. But really what it is a story that you kind of enter, and there's words on the screen so that the child says things back to their part of the game. They're interacting with it the whole time. They plant tomato seeds. They end up making a pizza at the end, and there's big, spoiler alert, pizza party at the end of the game.
Okay. All right. And we have you connected to the phone there. Let me make sure you're actually in there. And please, it will be descriptive as possible as we go here. Is your phone on?
Yep.
It's not kicking over for some reason. Let me see. And of course, live demo. There it is. There we got it. Okay, so go ahead and open that up. I'll wait for you to open that so I don't show everybody your home screen. There we go. So we have you up there. You're on the loading screen. I see you're built on Unity. I see a lot of that around. We do some developers been on that. Little Pizzeria. There we go. And she's talking to me.
What's your world like? Let's turn on your camera to see. Wow, it's so different.
And now everybody gets to see the other side of our studio if you're joining us on video.
So there's words on the screen that the child has to read.
Actually, yeah.
It's yummy.
Sorry for the pizza eating sounds again.
Nom, 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 nom.
Nom, nom, nom.
I'd say not the first time on this show.
Yeah.
Everyone's favorite. I want to throw my friends a surprise pizza party, and I want to make them a pizza just like Pizza Perry's.
I'm gonna play a little bit.
And then
Yeah. So
That's such a great idea.
what we eventually do is we plot this island out into the world.
mhm.
Transport it here.
Okay. Now I'm scanning. All right.
All right, so it's fine. And there's a giant
There
island in the
it
middle of our
is.
studio.
Yeah. So what's kind of cool is you can walk into it and get close to it. You can even go inside the building a little bit.
This is like, like a kid could be just walking around the middle of the living room and they're exploring this kind of thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, whenever we've had kids play it, just doing little play tests, a lot of them will just kind of try to understand what's really happening here. They'll stick their hand into the frame behind the camera and see where does that show up, and they'll go around the backside and go into it. So it kind of also encourages like physical aspect of play and this idea of like, how do I understand technology and what is really going on here?
So I see. So we have a couple characters in the middle there kind of interacting with each other. So the idea is like maybe they would like kind of come up and kind of frame that themselves and see what's going up. Like kind of like we, if we were the player character, but you're moving with your body.
Yeah, like you're in the game, but you're behind the camera. So the three characters are Sally, and then Pizza Perry, and then you, who is just like not physically embodied in the game. But you kind of talk to them throughout the piece, and they talk to you, and they involve you in this story, which is really this story about how to make better pizza by growing your own tomatoes to make your own tomato sauce.
It feels very like Animal Crossing Island, if I were to compare it to something.
Isn't it cute?
So I presume that so you got your ingredients there. Like I see there's a little kind of farm area and everything. And so is that kind of the interaction point there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so eventually he'll teach him how to plant seeds, and the child can or the adult, whoever, anyone can play this game, will press, it'll indicate to you where your interaction points are. So you press on the screen and it'll dig a hole in the animation, and then you can press the sprinkler and it'll sprinkle everything. Later you pick tomatoes, and eventually go inside the actual house. It changes scene, and you make a pizza, which is pretty fun too. You make pizza sauce and then a pizza.
Excellent. So, and this isn't released yet, right? It's coming out soon?
next week.
Next week.
Next week on
We
iPad.
actually,
And
yeah, we just submitted for the app review, and I think they're reviewing our experience.
So it's in Apple's due time, right?
yeah,
At this point,
There's nothing we
unfortunately.
can do at this point.
Oh yeah, we're familiar with that. So that's awesome. So what's the kind of age range that's being targeted here?
so we think this is really good for 8 to 10-year-olds, and then 8 to 12 maybe, and then you could like we're partnering with Carlo University's like K through 8 program. They have a summer camp, and they also have classroom time, and they have all these different themes about growing food and pizza. Actually, they have the week about pizza, and we're just going to come in and show them with iPads, and they want to do things like partner an older kid with a younger kid, so that because there's reading involved, but it's so cute, like a young kid would really like it, but the older kid can kind of help them work through it together. So I think that's a cool idea to kind of encourage cooperation as well.
And now, Chilla, I know you're as we've learned about your kids' amazing tactics in Fortnite earlier. Does this seem like you can see your kid getting into when he's not saving
Totally.
his compatriots?
We've been big on that, and there's, yes, and we're big on VR. We do limit that time drastically, but AR is super interesting to us. I wish there was more things like this that had a learning side to them. The thing that I could equate it to was he's done The Hungry Caterpillar, which was a book.
They have a really cool
turned into a whole AR experience that was really neat.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Kudos to you guys for building this, because there's not a lot of this content out there. So hopefully, you keep this coming.
Yeah, and it was a real collaborative effort too. So the animator was her name actually was Sally. So it was sort of funny because we kept being like, Sally, the little girl, and I'm like, oh, it's Sally, the animator. Two different Sallys.
For us, like when we were creating this, when we created this experience, for us, one of challenges was, just to create this story, because our target user was like Erica said, it's like 8 to 12, 8 to 11. And we weren't really sure like how to tell this story and make them engage with the story. So usually when you have this type of challenge, you go out and do some play testing. But, because it was during pandemic, we couldn't really do any play testing and, do the user testing at all. So that was, I think, it was like a main challenge when we created this app. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. We did a lot of edits of the script and just trying to make it appealing to kids, but also educational, but also kind of teach them how that they can ask adults for help and things like that. Trying to kind of put it all together in the script was a challenge. Definitely not being able to play test was was hard.
Yeah.
How long is the playtime and story of this thing generally for kids that want to get into it? Like how long of a line is that?
It's probably 15 minutes, the total thing, and
10 minutes,
10 to 15. Yeah. So it's like, we didn't want to be too long because then you'd lose the attention. But we didn't have to be too short because, then what's the point of trying it at all? So, yeah.
If this is one, do you see it kind of becoming a series of these kind of stories?
The script was originally longer, and I had included all these other things, like also how does pizza dough get made? I had all these ideas about you get the wheat and then you like beat it on something so the chaff comes out. Like I had all these other ideas that we couldn't quite stick in, or else it'd be like 30 minutes, and that's just probably too long.
Expansion pack. There you go.
Yeah,
that's a good idea. Yeah.
Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3.
The Rise Up Dough expansion pack, right? So,
cute. That's cute. Yeah.
That's awesome. So I see this is is this a free game or is this a pay game for when it comes out next week?
It's gonna be a free game.
Okay. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. Excellent. You're and that's not the only thing you're doing over there, right?
With Orda?
Yeah, with Orda.
Oh yeah, we have lots of different projects.
Yes. So, yeah. Tell me a little bit about that, because you are doing a little bit of VR as well too, right?
Yeah, Jahi, tell them about Shakespeare.
I mean, so we just started. Not So this year we got this NEH grant to create National Endowment for Humanity grant to create this Shakespeare VR experience. Basically, as a user, you get to pick either Romeo and Juliet or Juliet, and you get to practice your lines on the stage, and we have some cool interactions that you can actually feels like you are the part of this theater and play. So last week we just finished the motion capture recording. And I mean, we're working on it, so we don't have any visual support, but yeah, that's another project that we've been working on.
So is this because I've seen things about people getting over phobias. Would this be something to help get over like a little bit of a performance stage fright for some?
Maybe it could be.
Yeah.
It definitely could be. Like the one of the main goals is to make it feel like you're performing, like you're really on stage and this is happening and your lines are there for you and they're kind of, you can read them as they go. You can read the other person's as well. And, maybe you could do like a move, oh, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? You can do whatever you want to. And, I think that aspect of it will be really, really fun.
It's very, very cool.
I don't have stage fright. I'm lucky. So I don't know I'm not the good test subject for that, but maybe that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. And I see you have a lot of other projects here on the website that you guys have been involved with as well, I see.
Yeah. That virtual dance exchange program was pretty cool. So this was with it's more of like a 360-degree camera work. And the choreographers choreographed their dances around the 360-degree camera. So it's live footage. And it's really cool because it requires a different kind of choreography. You have to think differently about space and what people are seeing. People can turn completely around and see different dancers doing different things in different locations. So yeah, you can even move this around. Yeah.
Those are very cool. I didn't know Vimeo does 360. And I'm literally sitting here, by the way, because I have dug out and I've just been sitting here with my own 360 camera that I bought years ago. And we did a couple test projects back then with Scare House and a couple other things. Old Rico Theta, I think it was the first model they put out. I was just thinking about like, is anybody experimenting with this anymore? So it's good to see that somebody is. And I've been trying to figure out what that path is for this. So what like, obviously the choreography and everything, was a new way to wrap your head around, right?
Yeah, what was cool about it was partially pandemic inspired because it's hard to do performing arts when nobody can come see you. So how do you overcome that? And a lot of people were trying different things, and the 360 camera really came into play for this. And that's the idea. And then you can also see these beautiful backgrounds and everything. So there were 3 different choreographers and 3 different locations, and they were all this is in Wilkinsburg. And
very cool murals in the background.
Very cool murals.
If you haven't driven through Wilkinsburg and see some of the art, it's pretty tremendous.
And all of these things that are on these murals are historically relevant. And so it's, part of the project was bringing dancers who were maybe atypical. You think of dance as being certain kind of body types and certain kind of prestigious locations or something. This is an old abandoned church also in Wilkinsburg. And you can see there's a lot of different kinds of dancers in this troupe. And so I think it's cool. It's just a cool side part of it, of the idea. It was not just to bring arts into this tech realm, but also to use that also as a platform to expand what does it mean to be a dancer, so it made me definitely want to start dancing a lot more. I was like, maybe I can do this too.
Yeah. And one thing that I want to add is we are seeing this through the website and screen, but if you actually wear the VR headset, it feels a lot different. You are like part of their, you are on the stage with them, and they're like dancing around you, and that feels a lot different. And also the sound, this new like VR headsets, Oculus Quest 2, they have amazing sound systems. So you really like, you can immerse yourself. So
Yeah, you're really transported in that one, I feel.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sending this to my cousin that does a dance company back home in Greenville.
Okay. Yeah.
See if it inspires her as well. So very, very cool. We just recorded our dance recital for the year. So so you're doing a lot of very interesting projects in both in VR and AR. That's very, very cool. And actually, is this the first AR project that you've done with the pizza?
Yeah, actually.
Because I'm seeing a lot of VR and cameras,
Yeah.
immersive stuff here. So
Yeah, the pizza game was kind of a, teach ourselves how to do this and learn by doing. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the pizza game, actually, the reason why we started this game was because of the pandemic. Actually, most of my projects, because I couldn't travel anywhere, it was like some projects got canceled, and we had all this like extra time, and I had some experience with VR, but not AR. So we were like, okay, like let's try to tell some cute story and educational story with pizza. So
Yeah.
So what was the biggest kind of transfer? Like, you'd obviously been in the VR, like that immersive, everything's around you. How does that perspective kind of change when you're talking about like you're kind of dealing with this window through the phone, like an AR does?
I felt like definitely it's a lot different. I remember when we designed the scene, especially with AR, I didn't know what to do with transition. How do you transit from this farmhouse to the other space? Like, those things were totally different. And also, like, I guess when you design for VR, like, of course, there are some certain limitations, like, you don't want to wear this VR headset more than 20 minutes, but like those are, I guess, with AR. What are the limitations that you thought, like when you create like a story?
Creating the story for
Yeah.
One thing I was thinking about a lot was making sure to use all the space. So in VR, you're like in the center of the space all the time. It's always your point of view. Now in AR, you can physically move. I mean, you can physically move in VR too, but your perspective changes with you. This perspective is kind of like fixed, so you can go around to the backside and see different things. And part of the design challenge too is like making sure there's something interesting everywhere you can go. Yeah.
Interesting.
How much development time and how many developers did you have working on the project? I'm just curious.
So this one was totally like our passion project. So it actually, if everybody was full time, like I mean we had 2 programmer, we had 1 artist, 1 writer, 1 sound designer, and it took us almost like 2 years actually.
Wow.
But it was our passion project, so it wasn't our full-time job. Whenever we had some extra time, the speed wise, I think if we work this as everybody full-time, I'll say 6-7 months.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
Very interesting.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I also want to mention the music too, because we had some kids play it, and one of the things that they said was like, "This music is so soothing. Love this." And the mom was like, "This is the best music. All the games have the most annoying music." And the son was like, "Yeah, it gets all in your face. Like the music's just so intense all the time, and this is so nice and easy and relaxing." And so, we had our sound designer, Larry Chang. He's a composer, and he did a great job doing that. And then we have some also acoustic guitar by a local Pittsburgh artist whose name is Danny Rechtenwald. That goes in there too, and it's really chill, and you're just like, I'm making pizza, it's so fun, and it's relaxing. Yeah. I loved how the kids were like, this is the most relaxing music.
Awesome. I'm also seeing here you did, and I have some experience in safety training, and might be doing more soon. But I see you do a VR training experience here as well.
Yeah.
Carnegie. That tell me a little bit about that.
So this project, we did it, I think it was before COVID for sure, 4 years ago. So I work with nanotechnology lab at CMU, and one of challenge that they had was, all this, like they are working with all these students and they're spending so much time on training, like most, like every day they had like 2 training session, and they're spending majority of their time just doing the same thing, like educating and give this training session to students. So their idea was, what if we replace those training session into VR, so that like students, they can still learn about the facility, and it was mostly like the safety training. So like there are some little interactions like that students, they have to solve these quizzes. And when we had a meeting with them, I asked them like, why do you want to use VR? Because there are so many other training tools. And the reason was they want students to have some idea about the space and facility. Like, if you just use the 2D video, like you don't know where the exits are. Like they need to look around and have some ideas, and
it gives you spatial awareness, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Like
so
the physical embodiment in the space really gives you something different than you can get from a 2D video or anything traditional.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'd be interested to see, like, was there any testing on that after the fact to see if that did help with kind of spatial recognition? I don't even know how you would, I guess it'd be all anecdotal at that point, right?
Recently, I got an email from them, and they've been using it for like 3 years now.
Nice.
Yeah, and those quizzes, like, you gotta get it right. Otherwise, because we are also collecting those data. Like when they tried this training experience, they need to log in. So like if you don't get it like correctly, like 70-80%, I mean, you can pass it, but like if you don't, then you gotta retake it, or you do one-on-one session with them. So yeah, they've been using it for 3 years now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is very interesting, and I'm
Yeah.
going to be looking at that one. Very interesting.
Yeah.
No, I spent a lot of time with safety training for steel industry.
Oh,
So,
wow.
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it'd be kind of the same thing, but I don't know if they would be into. I don't know how you're going to bring the 360 camera in some of those spaces. It gets a little dangerous and hot. So I mean, just seeing what we did at the time we had tape cameras and seeing those come back and how often they needed serviced just from being in the mills was pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Well, another option would be to also just like take a 360 shot real fast and get out of there, and then computer generate it all, and then you can also have people interact with it more meaningfully as well.
I would love to pitch that to some of these companies. That would be incredible. But no, that's really cool. That's very, very cool, and it's the right environment, right? Because you're talking about some high. I mean, you're talking about people that are obviously receptive to technology at Carnegie Mellon. I mean, versus like your general steel worker is. I mean, we were producing CD-ROMs for Windows 98 in 2009, like to give you an idea where we were at the time. So I'm curious how much further they may have gone by now. But you got to upgrade sooner or later, right? No, that's very, very cool. I see there's a couple interesting projects as well. he did something for a Holocaust Learning Center.
Yeah. This was a very very interesting project. They wanted some VR experiences that explain two VR experiences. One explains, talks about Auschwitz and, you know, what it was like to be there. And that has like some computer animations and things like that where you're in the train and then you're in the rooms. And, you know, it was tricky to write the narration for this because you don't want to terrify people, but you want to definitely leave a serious impression and educate people in a very meaningful way. So, and then the other one was about the Kristallnacht, which is the Night of Broken Glass, which is, you know, many people feel like this is the event that kind of allowed the whole Holocaust to happen because, you know, some terrible things happened and the world didn't say, hey, Germany, stop that. And so they just kind of went full steam ahead. So it's an important day to recognize. And yeah, we actually just were there in March because they had their big
opening ceremony.
Ceremony.
Nice.
They had all their donors there. They had this, you know, really fancy dinner, and they invited us for this, and it was great to see people using the headsets and experiencing this. And you know, I'm from South Florida, so I said, Mom, come down here, and she tried it out, so I got to show off something I did to my mom. That was fun.
That's fun. This has been, and that's really big for those. I know we had our friend Christopher Witchlatch, who's currently working with the Rhino International Foundation. I think I got the name right. I knew my wife in here. She's wearing the T-shirt today. But he was always, he worked with Pittsburgh Foundation, and I remember it was one of the water. Is it charity water? Maybe is the big one. But he was at some fundraiser and they used VR and kind of showed what that experience was like, right? And that was, you know, small audience, big donors, you know, and a big response from it too. So I think it's really interesting to see how this. So this is in an installation at the Learning Center.
Yeah, so it's a JCC, and then inside of the JCC they have the Manya Nudel Learning Center, which is a room it's filled with so many other interesting things, including all these training modules that Jehi's been working on with them and the rabbi, and also they're really into immersion as an idea for teaching, and it's not just with VR. They also have a replica of Anne Frank's room to size, and you pull open a bookcase and you go in, and it's like all like how she had it. And so like they have like the things that the bricks going up to it are from Amsterdam, like, you know, so they have like everything's
incredible.
It's an incredible place. It's like if you're in Fort Lauderdale, you should go check it out just because it's so very interesting how they're choosing to do the education. And also right when the opening was when everything in the Ukraine started happening, so it seemed extra relevant to be working in an educational moment for that.
Excellent. So you got a lot of cool projects here, and there's even more we haven't even touched on here, but you go ahead. Isn't
it cool? Johi's really made this really interesting company that does all of these different kinds of creative touches on all these different kinds of creative things. It uses VR and AR functionally for training, but also creatively in these new ways. And I'm impressed by Orta. I'm just along for the ride. I love it.
Very cool. Thank you so much for coming on and talking to us about your projects. Definitely something we'll be keeping an eye on because we love seeing, you know, how people are developing these things. And we, I mean, this is where things are going one way or another, right? We're getting over those technical humps now, but I don't know. In the next 10 years, this is going to be 10, 15, maybe. It'll be just as prevalent as this thing everywhere, right? So
and also just wanted to add one more thing, because you know, most of people when they think of VR, they think of it as a gaming device.
Yes,
but you know, I think that VR can be more than just a gaming device. You know, it could be really good for education and training, and I think, you know, there are so many good use cases out there. So just wanted to add that, you know, with the technology, VR and AR.
Yeah, medical applications too.
There's a lot
definitely. A lot of evidence for, you know, some of the things you were saying before, Mike, actually, where like things that you can use it for that are like beyond what you would imagine at first, and that really have neural background support and studies that kind of show that actually it can really help with phobias or Parkinson's. I mean, there's all kinds of applications. Yeah.
Very interesting to see it. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Where can people find out more about your projects coming up and this app next week?
OrtaInteractive.com.
Yeah.
And we have an Instagram, Orta Interactive, ORTA.
There you go, and there you go. If you're in Fort Lauderdale, check out the. I think I might be due to take another trip down there soon. So with one of my clients,
Okay.
one of my clients gets a lot of tattoos, and his tattoo artist is down there. A friend from Fishing Without Bait. So every once in a while I tag along. Flights are cheaper in Spirit. At least they used to be. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and of course, and everybody, our crew. I don't. Is Chilla still with us? Did he pumpkin time out? He bounced out.
Nope, I'm still here.
You're still here. John Chilla at Chilla on Twitter, and
Chilla on the Facebook.
Chilla Jr. is just kicking everybody's ass at Fortnite.
Yes.
Yes.
I think I hear him talking in there.
Well, we'll let you do your game. Ron Krause, thank you for joining us again. We didn't even talk Xbox this time.
I know. How about that? Holy heck.
Here's my question for you afterwards. Should I be getting a new Xbox, or should I get a Quest to get into some of this VR stuff? Because all I have is that old Samsung one. That's for later. Maybe we'll do it on Patreon.
Yeah.
And Dave Podner is here too. I haven't seen him on the screen for a while, so I forgot it was here. I was like, there's another one. It's Dave Podner.
Thanks for having me on.
iPhoneography Podcast.
Yep, and ProfPod on the Twitter and the Instagram, and ProfPod PGH on the TikTok.
And he showed us something very, very cool in photography. Krause showed you, actually, but we got your input on it over on Patreon. We're going to be putting that up here later. A very cool giant attachment for your phone to make photography happen and to turning into
Sounds lewd.
Oh, we've had a looter. So thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you for 600 episodes, and by God, you guys are still listening or watching out there. Thank you everybody in the chat room, including my mom. Hi, Mom, if you're still out there. Brian Crawford hanging out too, our top executive producer. And no, you didn't drop off incidentally. You were under PGH Museums. I get it. Shout out to pghmuseums.org, by the way. But thank you everybody for joining us, whatever platform that may be. We'll see you guys next time. You have been our awesome audience. Have an awesome week. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.